All right, friends. Um, Sitting here waiting for uh, someone to come unlock my wife's car because she locked her keys in it. Women, am I right? um, Standing outside my son's school. But I guess I saw something the other day and I wanted to talk about it briefly while I was waiting. So I think it's pretty important to, I don't know, discuss overall. Where's the thing? Okay. I think part of the reason I and some people in general have trouble with content a lot of times. I could speak more so for myself. Is there's a lot of things that are out of our control, and a lot of the stuff that we talk about, complain about in life, are out of our control. And I try not to be part of the problem because I think to some extent we have an obligation to just let things go and just avoid the things that we can't control. And so, in that way, the moments I feel that we're powerless, the only way to empower ourselves is to focus on what we can control. What's up, Beast? Good to see you, man. I I think there needs to be a lot of work that we put into changing our situation on a local level. This is something that I've talked about at length. I think it's important that we are present with our families, we are present with our communities, and in many ways, I will parrot Jordan Peterson when he says, clean your room, because I think that will have ultimately the best possible ripples through time and even our own life. Um, but I know this is a hard pill for people to swallow because it doesn't offer necessarily any immediate real benefit. But to which I would say that's not true, because empowering your life on a small scale is completing your task, finding purpose within the day, even if that means, that endless pile of laundry. That's part of the checklist, right? It's something that we have to do to better our own situation. And think of it on a small scale as you can. Again, if your room is filled with endless piles of laundry, well, cleaning that up, those things, they add up over time and they help contribute to a more positive and meaningful life. Purpose doesn't always have to be on such a grand scale. We don't. Purpose could be just keeping your life in a good place where it is. We don't all need to change the world directly. Instead, small ripples can have big effects down the line. And I hope that my audience realizes that if there's any point to the stuff that I do, oftentimes it's that. That's why I say ultimately I put myself out of a job by influencing enough people to disconnect and be a part of their life on a small scale. Hey Terry, good to see you. Um, and in many ways, contribute to the things that you want to contribute to because it has meaning to you and it brings you joy. Um, don't participate in things that you don't want to because you don't feel that it's right. All these things done with purpose and for the right reasons will have drastic effects that are long lasting in the future. And whether that means boycotting a company or supporting a company or whatever it might be, these are all very, very important aspects that people forget. But a lack of purpose is something that a lot of us are guilty of. And the way we find that purpose is understanding the things that you have control over and contributing to those on a regular basis. It's why I don't scoff at a lot of the content online, but I do I do think that a lot of it is just it's surface level. It's very, very small. Apparently, I have someone in Streamyard. Where? I don't see you, man. Um, why can't I see? Oh, there we go. What's up, man?
Nothing. I saw you send me a link. What's up?
No, no, I was just commenting on how. Well, I thought, well, I'm going to make a quick little video and live stream. I might as well send you the link since we thought we might do these together.
Okay.
So one of the things I was just talking about, just like finding purpose in life, and people overextending themselves online in ways that things that are beyond their control. People focus less on the things that they do have within their control, and ultimately why they might not find any happiness in life is because they're too fixated on things that they can't control versus things that they can. And of course, I do reference Peterson a little bit here, and make your bed, clean your room, because I think it's a rule that's widely overlooked, and one that can ultimately, as much as people want to scoff at it, I think it's a place that most people don't even think to start.
I mean, that's true. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what your take is on it ultimately, but um,
Making your own
you,
destiny? Yeah. No. I mean, how deep you want me to go with this conversation? Everybody has multiple layers of what you choose. It all comes from our parents and the people around us, and then what we choose and our friends and everything else. And you kind of swim around trying to find out where you fit. It's all a mess. So,
yeah, and like I think that's I mean part of. I was just like relating it to my own journey of content because like while I think in many ways I struggle to find my voice, I think the more deeper thing is I struggle to find purpose in it, and maybe that's
mhm.
one. Maybe they're the same or different side of the same coin, because I find immense joy in the stuff that I do with my family. Like tonight's Halloween. Like last night
Mhm.
we carved pumpkins, and I just thought like this is what life is about. It's just fun. Like as stressful as it is, like these little moments of
Mhm.
like they don't necessarily mean a whole lot, but in the grand scheme they do because it's me interacting with my kids and having fun and giving them a
Mhm.
memory. Whereas I think in some ways we forget that part of life is I don't
Well, no,
know, like
yeah.
the moments are so fleeting.
Well, no, as you get older, the moments get watered. Um, the easiest way through is having, from my perspective, it's being a kid and then having kids of your own, and then you have that bridge. Um, so there is that. Um, one thing I know from my parents is when you get older, you find out you have no purpose at all. My dad didn't have that before he died. My mother, at her age, is struggling to find her purpose. So I've always encouraged you to do that with you, but yeah, no, it's a whole. Everything's a mess, and it's always a fun adventure figuring out the way through.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've talked about before how I think we've just lost the ability, or a lot of people have lost the ability with with amazing technological advances, the ability to find purpose a little bit more naturally, because our life is a lot of it's been so automated where 70, 80 years ago we woke up and we're like, well, where's our food coming from? Like how, like, are the crops good? Or you know what I mean? Like there was so many
Mm-hmm.
different things that were in play that you know we don't even have to worry about anymore. um and like I guess maybe from the lack of fragility of life, I don't even like using that term, but like
Well, you,
like we don't understand the fragility of life until like we're we're holding a loved one in our arms in their final moments, right? Or
Mhm.
and that used to happen like so much more rapidly, um, or so much. There were so many more unknowns that could like leave room for that. Where now, through healthcare advances and technology advances, we stave off death so much easier than we ever did. So life is less valuable, and thus we lose sight of purpose. Is that
I'm-
am I making sense?
No, you are. I disagree because I have a different perspective.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Again, like, well, to bring it to our generation, we just lost Matthew Perry, who died in
yeah.
a hot tub 2 days ago. Um, Jesus Christ! All right, because I'm on your stream, I'm going to be very personal. My dad went in for kidney stones, and because of COPD and other health issues, never left the hospital. Um, we like to think that life is a lot easier now and less chaotic. It's not. I think the problem is we're so connected. Like back in the day, you had a small town with a couple people, you felt things more. Now you're barraged with a lot. But it's no less fragile than it ever was. So,
Right. Well, I guess the perception of that fragility, you know what I mean? Like because there's like I guess you know what I mean. Like and in your case, you're right. Like they're like you understand it like the fragility of life better than most, but
mhm.
like you know where like clean like where do you get clean water? Like that's something within even within the past century is like new, you know,
Mhm.
like like legit. I mean, I know plumbing has been around, but like 100 years ago, like it was like where am I going to get like really really clean water? Like, can I rely on this source? I mean,
Mhm.
it's the very like early stages of it, and I think because of that, like I mean, just life expectancy going up.
Mhm.
Like we have time. Like the perception is we have time, and I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'm obviously just speaking from my own point of view on life, but you know, like I guess in your case, like until your dad got sick, like you thought you had all the time in the world, right? Like it didn't even occur to you, like ever in your life that something might like pop up, you know, whether it was with a family member or like a friend. And I
Well,
think,
I'm a horrible example. Like I really am. I had a friend who died from a heroin overdose when I was in high school. Um, I've had I've had people live longer than they should have, and people died well beyond like before they should have. So I'm a bad example because for me, life is chaos. Um, and I exist in a state of chaos of make your mark while being afraid of making a mark. Like I'm terrified of everything. You know this.
yeah,
Um, you never know. Like it's always one thing I've not to glaze you too much,
no, you're
but
fine.
I've always appreciated that you try to make your family a priority because you form memories with these people. And when chaos hits, if it hits in the worst way possible, they've got an imprint. Um,
Right.
but online, people get impressions from everywhere and it drowns out everything. Like I've seen so much online because I've told you I've been researching the current stuff a lot lately. Um, it's easy to get lost in the miasma and you get drowned by it. My whole life has been trying not to be drowned by stuff. Um, all you can try to do is try to step up, push beyond, and do what you can while you can, which is also why you piss me off so much, because I know you've got a level you can raise to, and you raise to it in other spaces. Personally, you fail constantly.
So, oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, is this my thing? Cool. They're finally unlocking my car.
Where are you, by the way? Is your car locked?
No, my wife's car is locked. She locked it up. She was picking up the kids at school.
Okay.
And locked the keys in the car.
Oh, fun.
But it was going to be an hour and a half. Luckily, it's not. Entertain everyone for a minute.
Hello, chat.
You entertain.
Awesome one. Let's see. Dust we are made from Earth. True. We spring from it and we go back to it. Know about kidney stones? Luckily, I don't. Yeah, hold their conversation. I haven't lived in the third world. I've been in many villages where water was dirty. True. And families spent 8 hours a day just trying to drink water. Also true. In America, we've got like Detroit, where their water is awful. And it's a thing I got into a rant about many times, especially recently, with the fact that we can't even do infrastructure, but we're spending money on a bunch of weird shit otherwise. The Beast is laughing at something. And then, wait, is everyone okay? I have no idea. I got sent a link, and Shags in the desert, looking sweaty, talking about very serious things. So, you guys talk more, so I know what to respond to. Nothing. I see Nightbot dropping.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Just be a second.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to antagonize the watchers. Sat a car and he's walking on the road, so I thought just what? He's not walking, he's just standing by a car. Was it a breakdown? No, apparently his wife locked him out of it. So sounds very appropriate for Mrs. Shags. She should do that more often. Again, talk more, hit like more. Share the link. Happy will come in to yell at him or me. I've been up for 2 days, so I'm incredibly tired. Blah.
Okay.
No blah. Blah, blah, blah your face. No one that says is named Awesome One should say blah ever. Words, blah, blah.
Blah word. What did the Beast say? Oh, it was, everyone thought, everyone, it's all fine. It was just my wife locked her keys in the car, and then we carpool with a family. She had both my son and his friend, and they were trying to get home. And I said, well, they said it's going to be 90 minutes. And I just said, take my work truck, bring them home, and I'll see you in a little bit. So, and in the meantime,
how long has it been?
It was only like 15 minutes. So I'm going to sit here and talk a little longer since she thinks it'll be a little bit later.
Well, Meta showed up. Go away, Meta.
Yeah, what's up, Meta? And Mr. Grant Gregory. Good to see you guys.
Nah, nobody likes Grant Gregory. He's from an imaginary place.
What was I going to say? Or what
we're talking about the meaning of life, purpose, being inundated with stuff.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Meta. Stop it.
I just thought, because I've been seeing a lot of stuff, like, there's always, everyone has advice. Everyone believes they have the answers. But I felt when I heard people talking about concentrating on stuff within your control, I was just like, man, it's so fantastically simplistic, um, and something that we don't like really think about, but like really focusing on the stuff that you can control. And this is like, and you can apply it just about anywhere, and it almost helps you avoid drama where you can. Like, well, does that really affect me? Nope, it doesn't. Well, moving right along. Like, I can't change that. Or, the only thing you can change a lot of times is your own behavior, recognizing how other people are acting. Is like, well, am I going to allow that to totally change my worldview or everything about me because someone else is saying, like, I can't control what they do. All I can do is control how I respond to that thing. And I can respond
Mm-hmm.
to it like a raging asshole, or I can respond to it like a composed, calm human being. And also, it's one of the reasons why I engage with people the way I do on TikTok, is because like those people might not be used to having someone that can have a coherent discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it does devolve into me getting angry, but you know, by and large, I try and flip that script on them a little bit and be a little bit more rational, and even
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'll take what you're saying and try and apply it, or I'll research that side of it or consider it.
Well, but that's the fallacy.
Yeah,
We exist in a world where we want to live in a space we can control, but we always seek other people, which we can't control. So it always creates that dichotomy. Um, that's why everyone's online. And the problem isn't control like what we can. Like the big thing is, especially now, I think, is we live in a world where you can stop and think. And when you can think, you want to speak. And when you can do that, you want people to hear you. And it creates, again, this, you don't want to be agreed with, but you do. You want to be pushed back against, but you don't. And again, it's just, we live in a time now which is like, I think, no other, because we're so connected and we want to be heard.
yeah,
And it's hard to know when you should speak and when you should shut the fuck up. And we all play with that. That's why YouTube exists, because people wanted to be heard. At the beginning, nobody had anything to say. Now everybody has something they want to say. But you've got so many people telling you to shut up. So yeah, it's a weird space. And if you're sensitive, you just end up being quiet and you slink away.
yeah. That's working.
Apparently, Awesome One read Psalms and Proverbs every day. Most of it is living through suffering and betrayal and continued faith despite setback. I can agree with that. Never read Proverbs. Well, I did both of those at some point. The problem is not getting hit with setback.
What?
The Beast, when I was young, I remember thinking adults had all the answers, and I grew up and realized half the time, we're guessing at the time, true, and praying the other half. Um, Less than true, but true where it counts.
Yeah, I think that like that's the one crazy thing about growing up is you trust adults implicitly, take care of you and give you all the knowledge of the world. And I even catch myself sometimes like telling my son something and like realizing it's like a half truth, or like it's the kid explanation. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, am I contributing to a greater problem down the road where he's not going to believe me if I tell him this thing? I've even battled with it with like the whole Santa Claus thing. It's like, are we
Mm-hmm.
doing kids a disservice by pushing the Santa Claus? Like, it's totally fun and I think harmless,
Mm-hmm.
but on some level, I almost feel like I'm betraying their trust by telling them this, and then them finding out years later, oh, it's just a lie. It's something I battle with all the time.
I disagree, and we can go deeper into that if you want.
Yeah, I got to figure this. Oh,
Got to figure what out. He's muted. He's fighting with his computer and he's frozen, I think. He's moving. Still muted.
All right,
there we go.
Okay.
I mean, we can go into that. I think. Can you hear me?
Nope, I can't hear.
Test.
What the hell?
Pee pee, wee wee, poo poo, caca. Little impression for you. Ca, bang, fuck, I'm dead. Nothing?
There we go.
Nope. Oh, and there's a thumb picture. So let's see what the chat says. This is the second car video I've seen with similar thoughts. Actually, who's the other car video? Awesome. Aloha, MMG, and Meta. Been busy working on new tunes. Always awesome. Exercising which I can. Extra awesome. Trying to be a better dad. Always do that.
What the hell?
Oh, there's a thumb shags and another shags. Up. Listen, Coca-Cola Santa is the best Santa. Oh, and it's just me. Haha. I now run. Oh, he's back.
Wow, this is totally crazy.
Well, you're in the desert, so.
Sorry about that. My doing StreamYard on your phone is kind of stupid. It's really annoying.
Well, I've been annoying the chat. Did you want to go into the Santa conversation? Because I have thoughts.
No, not this time.
All right.
But yeah, I guess yes, eventually, but not right now. Well, I need to get better at staying on topic. That's one of the reasons I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm the worst guest for that.
Yeah.
Walton? No. If it's what I'm thinking of, no. Sorry, that was a chat thing. I'm reading it, so.
Are you okay?
Quick but impactful reign as King Bonzo. Yeah, well, not really.
On topic host. I'm trying. I just want. I guess hearing all this stuff. I did see that awesome one said this is the second car conversation he's seen with similar topic, which I think is good. I think if people do focus on this particular thing of understanding the things that you have control of in your life and reining those in, and like not perfecting them, but at least being proficient enough at them. I think you'll find way more happiness, and I think B, engaging in those extra things like culture war shit or whatever will seem more meaningful because you do have all your own crap together. Too many people are trying to influence the world without having their own shit dialed in, and even me to an extent. And that's why I think like, well, if I practice what I preach anyway, this stuff will just kind of come out naturally. And I've even thought, oh man, what was that? I was behind this truck that had like a political like poster on it, and I thought, you know what? I was like, maybe there's a way to like organize a local like debate event or a way like an event that politicians can show up to, and like almost like a meet and greet, a convention of politicians for like voting in November. Like, why isn't that something that exists where you can actually go around and talk to people and understand their stances and who they are on a personal level, not just a face on a sign? Like, couldn't that help? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know if something like that's possible, but
I mean,
I've never seen anything
exist.
Like
well, they used to. I don't know if they still do, actually. There used to be town hall meetings, everything, but everything's so fragmented now. Like, that's one thought. Other thought is with the internet, it's something I've come to terms with, is nobody expects you to be a together person.
Yeah.
Honestly, on the internet, if you're a together person, if you come across that way, you probably should not be listened to.
Yeah. Yeah.
People on the internet, it's stream of consciousness. It's talking, it's finding your way. And there is comfort in that for a lot of people. Watching somebody find their way and being honest about it. And they can find their way alongside you or even fracture from who you are. But anyone online who seems like they have it together, in my years and years and years on it, you should avoid those people like the plague because they're probably full of shit.
Yeah. I'm actually, it's funny because I feel like a lot of times the people that resemble me a little bit more, who are just like fragmented and like chaotic, I'm just like, man, they just seem like way more real. And like they like, this is how normal people think, is in these fragmented ways and not so put together and like almost like scripted. You know, like Counterpoints is a great example of like someone who's just like, this is what I think, and I don't give a shit like what anyone has to say about it, because this is how I live my life. I want to do it. Blah. You know, like, I don't know. That's why I like people like that, is I just feel like, well, they're not perfect. Neither am I. Like, I shouldn't necessarily pretend to be.
Well, you should strive to be unapologetically who you are, which is a problem I have. I constantly am hyper aware of everything I say, everything I do. You know, like I've changed my name online more times than I can count. Because I'll say or do something or take a step away and then reinvent myself, and that is a part of being online, especially if you're anonymous. If you're not, a lot of people get audience captured and stick in a wheelhouse. But finding a way to be unapologetically who you are is a skill not many have. Like, my father didn't make it to 70. My mother is creeping up on it. And I discovered, like, recently, neither one of them, in a lot of regards, know who they are. And the realities they thought they had is bull crap. Like, my mother right now is trying to redefine everything because of stuff in my family and everything else. And that's a skill in and of itself. And it's something I know you personally have always struggled with, is just being unapologetically you. And as you know, I'm your worst critic. I give you crap all the time. But I'm like, but I always tune in, not because I like you as a person. I initially started as somebody who peeked in and went, hey, he's an interesting dude. And he needs to follow this path. And you like to try to run into the barriers to drive off of it. I'm like, no, just stick to who you are and follow it the best way you can. And you're going to fail and screw up constantly.
I've reached a point, though, where I've stopped giving a fuck. I think I've reached a breaking point in my mind. If I'm not there right now, I'm very close. I'm just, I don't know. I keep seeing, and I've said before, either online or shared the sentiment from someone else, is like, if you're trying, what was it like? Well, the saying is like, if you try and please everyone, I actually don't even know the saying. Now that I'm trying to say it, like, I just feel like I try. No, I know what you're saying. Too many people.
Yeah, if you try to please everybody, you're going to please nobody.
Right. Well, at least most of all myself. You know, like, it's like disappointing sometimes to look back and be like, why didn't I just speak my fucking mind? Like, why didn't I just say what I wanted to say? What am I so afraid of when it comes to, you know, all these issues? And actually, one of them, I'll just say it straight up. One of them is like, so I forget the guy's name, but he's a professor somewhere, and he was on Bill Maher recently saying, like, you know, we should offer forgiveness to those, who got COVID wrong and blah blah blah. And I do understand people's stance on not offering forgiveness to people because they royally fucked up in robbing people of rights and sort of like abandoning like historic methods of vetting vaccines or whatever. And I saw a lot of people polarize against it, and I feel them. But I'll be honest, like I can't fully take that side because like we do need to offer forgiveness at some point. We do. And forgiveness doesn't mean you forget, right? It just means that you're taking the brunt of that trauma, if you will, and allowing them to still remain in your circle. So if you know someone who is adamantly about masking kids and keeping people inside and forced lockdowns, like you forgive them for that awful thing. That doesn't mean you forget that they did that and you start applying it to future events. And that's like, I think the nuance in that is so incredibly important because no one ever said forget about it. It just means move to the next stage. They're still human after all. They tried to fuck you over, and never forget that. But if we're going to be better than the people who were against us at some point, that forgiveness does need to be offered. And that's just kind of where I'm at. And I don't even give a shit who like dislikes me for that opinion. If it's even possible to forgive someone for that opinion or, to be mad at someone for that opinion.
Well, no, I agree. Like, God, what's the old saying? Like, to err is human, to forgive divine.
Yeah.
But I always, same thing. Like, you can forgive, but never forget. And again, like COVID, again, for me, did a lot of damage to my family across the board.
Yeah.
My dad went through a lot of stuff, and COVID affected him. One, he had end-stage COPD, so there's a lot of weird crap there. But also the way the government and the VA handled his health care. And the fact that he never went back to the doctor afterwards because of how the VA treated him because of the weird crap everybody did. I've got nieces and nephews who are young, who I've seen the effects of all of it.
Yeah.
I personally forgive people because I know sacrificing freedom for security is a human instinct.
Yeah.
But I also judge them immensely for it. Because the whole time I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. People did it. And I've seen suffering around me in a pretty heavy way.
Well, and real quick, I just want to, DJ Ronnie G said that guy would do it again if the situation was repeated. And I can't think of his name right now, but I've seen his talks and I've seen him. He seems like a pretty level-headed guy, but he also has this like sort of quiet authoritarian about him that I think is dangerous. And I think he absolutely would again. And I said, I think it was on Carrie Smith's tweet. I said, this is one of those things that I feel like in a few years, people are going to be saying the same thing with the gender affirming care thing. Is they're going to say, well, how could we know? We didn't know. We thought we were being kind and gentle and inclusive with people. And again, because people are using the sort of same thing. It's like, well, we should, and it's just right. And who does it hurt? And that's just kind of where I am. But again, it's not to say that I forgive him. And like, I forget how someone explained forgiveness to me, and it was so succinctly put. And I kind of started saying it's not like when you forgive someone, you're bearing the burden of the forgiveness of that trauma. That's what forgiveness really is. It's not, you don't forget what happened, but they don't do anything. You're the one accepting that. And the people who truly forgive, you have to be strong to do something like that. Like, there's no doubt about it. To truly forgive someone is, I think, like you said, it's divine. And I think people forget. And when people forget too, how many times have you been forgiven in your life? You know, they didn't forget what you did, but they thought, well, we were all dumb. We were all young at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to move on. It's, you know, but you know, of course, forgiveness wears out after a while. You know, it's not like you get unlimited forgiveness in your life. You know what I mean?
What's the whole first time shame on you, second time shame on me? By the way,
Yeah.
the guy's name is Scott Galloway, professor,
Scott Gallo.
NYU Stern School of Business.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
Carrie
seen.
Smith said, "Mark my words, they are eventually going to do the same thing regarding trans kids. Doctors
Yeah.
and politicians are going to say, once it's commonly acknowledged for butchery it is, we were wrong. How could we have known? We did our best to have a little forgiveness."
I have said that before. I you know, I commented on her tweet saying the same thing, but I know I've said this in the past that, you know, I do
Up, you're
think,
cutting out. Robot. Hey,
and
chat.
we're gonna. Oh shit!
You're back, I think.
I was gonna say it's one of the greatest mistakes in human history that we've ever made, and you know, there's going to be plenty of people in the same way that are asking for forgiveness. She's spot on, and I know I've whoa shit. I know I've said this before, um, and you know, I don't look forward to that day because I know it's coming, and I know a great many people are going to be in the same situation. It's just going to be like, well, I don't forgive you. This was awful, and they're right. You know, and that's the thing is like two things can be true at one time, and I wish people understood that a little better.
Well, it's a lot of it is depends on where the empathy is aimed. Um, I remember with COVID, everybody was concerned with grandma could die.
Yeah,
Um,
which
and
is right.
again, well, no, it's true. Like I said, my dad had end stage COPD during COVID, and I was paranoid all the time. If I went out and did something, I had to do everything I could to make sure I didn't take it home because it's a respiratory disease. It was influenza.
Yeah,
Um, so I could accidentally take COVID over, and then he'd be done because he had to use a breathing machine all the time. Um, but people let the fear override other things. The trans kid stuff is the same thing. COVID was an unprecedented thing that ravaged our society, like all societies. So we didn't know how to react to it. We weren't prepared. We lived comfortably. The trans stuff is something we are still coming to terms with. And to me, the research I've done and the things I've seen, it's one of the problems is that we have I told you the three A's: activists, allies, and advocates. You've got, especially when you were at home, people had nothing to do, and I think it changed people's perspectives.
yeah,
And they're so concerned with these kids being able to be themselves and not letting them have a baseline. And again, I have this ravaging my family right now,
yeah,
and it's rough to navigate. As somebody, I don't have kids of my own. I can't imagine being a parent and having to deal with kids who are going through this,
right.
especially certain circumstances where you just like, what do we do? And everyone wants to aim towards empathy. And that's the
Yeah, well,
problem, though, is we've got one side empathy and one side is F your feelings.
yeah. Well, the Beast put it pretty nice. Like, I'll forgive you and still want to see you eat, but it'll never be at my table. Um, yeah, and I would even take that a step farther, and it would I would say I want to see you eat, and it won't be at my table for a while, possibly never. But I don't like closing doors fully because again I do. I mean, there's very few circumstances where I feel like a door should shut completely because I do think that people make mistakes. I think they're misled. I think a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people were misled and not and followed not in a malicious way, but in just that. Well, this is what I know and this is what I was told. So, you know, because I think at some point, a lot of us were like, yeah, we got to wear a mask. You know, some of us took that and ran with it a lot farther. Um, but then they just started to mimic what they were told by people they trusted their entire life, whether that was news or family or whatever. Um, I mean, I think at this point, if you still see people that are like drinking the Kool-Aid that bad, there's maybe something else at play. But I do feel at some point that we need to allow doors, if not leaving them open, at least leaving them unlocked. Um, if that makes sense. And I don't know, maybe it's a fault of mine that I'm too forgiving of people. Um, but I don't know. I guess it's a in me. I think I want to see people be more forgiving, and even if that means I need to take on a lot of betrayal, then that's what I have to do. Is I have to forgive people, and even if they forget, if they go against that trust and that forgiveness, well, it's on me, and hopefully I need to learn at some point to stop forgiving. And I know people who are not forgiving at all. You screw them over once, they shut that door, and there's no getting back in. You know, and I know people who are just like like me, who are just okay, you fucked me. Okay, well maybe you'll learn this time. I don't know.
I know. I'm worse than you. I will always generally let people at my table unless they've done something extreme.
Yeah.
Like they have to remove their own chair from it.
Yeah.
Especially because if somebody's misled or if somebody believes different than me, and I think I know better, which I know I'm incredibly flawed. I would rather them sit at my table and break bread with them and change their minds or hearts about something.
Yeah.
Because if you cut people off who do something out of fear or panic or whatever, or think they're doing the right thing, and then you remove them from the conversation, you're removing a voice that you can potentially bring to your side.
Yeah. I do want to real quick respond to Beast. He said that makes sense, but it's not me, brother. And maybe that's my shortcoming. No. It's not your shortcoming. I'm not saying that if you don't
No.
follow my way, you're wrong. I'm just saying like I'm a more extreme example of forgiving people and allowing people back in. But everyone has their own tolerance of bullshit. And Meta Step says, I might forgive my ex for cheating, but I'm not taking her back. And that's what I mean. It's like some actions are not necessarily easily forgivable, if forgivable at all. And even by forgivable, I mean like, so yeah, you will never trust her to get back together with her, but like I said, like I've cheated on a girlfriend before. It's not good, and I recognize
Sinner.
how awful it is. I know. I'm the biggest sinner on the fucking internet. I have never once pretended to be a saint. But like maybe at some point in your relationship, you offer her the grace of you know mutual respect, in that maybe she does grow in ways that you didn't expect that she would grow, and you can acknowledge at least that part at a later date. And again, that might never come, but I think in my head, one of my favorite things to do is to watch people grow out of the shell of who they were and become that butterfly. And I'm not necessarily saying that it's possible for her to become a butterfly, or maybe she'll just continue to be a steaming pile of shit. I don't know, but I do think it's important to offer people the grace that we were once offered by those that we wronged, because every single person has wronged someone, to their own self-interest at some point in their life. And that doesn't make you a bad person. It means that you made a mistake, and then you corrected it, and someone allowed that to be corrected, or forgave you enough to say, okay, I will let this guy continue doing it, and maybe he's still in my life. You know, it's I just think that's so important in order for us to get beyond where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
What even is the beast saying is I'm talking specifically about people trying to push that stuff on me and mine. But that's what I said about people who remove their own chair from the table.
yeah,
Like I'm
yeah,
a firm believer in I don't want to give people power over me. If they
yep,
want to remove their chair from the table and they can't sit with me, that's fine.
yep,
My big thing is about not holding on to my own resentment because my whole life has been about resenting a lot of fucking people. Sorry, I'm trying
yeah.
not to cuss, but I fail constantly.
No, you're fine.
But somebody who does something egregious to you, they remove their chair again, the euphemism, the table.
Yeah,
Um, and you kind of go, I'm going to forgive you, but you can't sit here. You've removed your ability to sit at my table any
yeah,
longer. I will not
yep,
break bread. I will not give you wine. I will not do anything.
yeah,
We will not share in frivolity. But I'm going to forgive you for what you did, and then you scamper off, and hopefully you learned your lesson, and you'll
hmm,
pay it forward in some strange way.
yep,
Um, but I'm also incredibly forgiving. Like the amount of crap I've gone through is pretty severe. But it takes a lot for me to kind of remove a chair from somebody. So, what's Meta saying? Well, I'm pretty sure she was borderline personality disorder. Well, yeah, no, I've dated plenty of those. My taste in women is insane. So,
literally insane taste. Oh
yeah,
shit. Um, I forget about physics sometimes.
yeah,
Um,
it's been.
yeah, I know, and I think to some degree, people we all need examples of things in life, and you know, regardless of what I do, whether it's in your best interest or in my best interest or whatever, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Like these are things, and like me being more honest with things only allows you to see deeper into who I am, and by you I mean chat.
Mhm.
Is that you know the more stuff I can put out and just talk on and more honestly, and really Twitter is where I'm the most honest with things, um, or at least the most
Unfortunate.
outspoken. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're most outspoken. um, I think I just need to get over my what holds me back, and I think I may have told you this. What holds me back is my for at least for YouTube stuff is like I look at this and I go, it's such low quality. It's me sitting in a car driving, and everything looks like shitty. I'm not framed properly. What am I doing? But I don't know.
Mhm.
It sounds like people are understanding the conversation. People are still engaged, which that's where I was saying earlier. Like I've reached a breaking point where I don't care anymore because I just need to I just need to talk. I want to talk. Um, and I don't know. I hope people are here for the ride because um, I don't have the time for the high quality and or not high quality, but I don't have time for the highly edited
Mhm.
um,
High
you know
production.
content. Yeah, yeah, the high production that a lot of people put into it. I just
Mhm.
can't. Um,
Well, it's not your full time gig, so it makes sense. I've told you forever. I think you just need to turn a camera, record your thoughts, and just spit it out there. So,
yeah, no, it's true. The more content I actually consume of people doing that, um, the more I kind of like, okay, I get it. Like this is where it's at. And I've seen a lot of people um, reuse old content way down the line, not even necessarily like putting out shorts that coincide like right away, you know?
mhm. DeBeast just said, "We're here for your solid takes, not your pretty face, brother."
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I hope everyone's making it out for Halloween tonight. It's if you are, make sure you stay safe and walk in pairs.
I'm staying home. Once we got the phone, I'm on with my girl, and we're gonna watch a movie and have pizza. So
I will say that for those of you who watched the midweek hump last week all the way through, I was right. Five Nights at Freddy's is dog shit. And everyone who is surprised at it being dog shit is stupid.
wait,
I'm going to be talking.
people thought that was going to be a good movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if they necessarily thought it was going to be a good movie. We argued about whether it was a good idea that it did a dual release. Is it going to make a lot of money?
No.
Well, it's doing pretty well at the box office for the opening weekend. I don't know exactly the figures. I'm sure we'll talk about it Wednesday, but I'm also going to go in depth on that movie and Killers of the Flower Moon with Lofty on Thursday evening. So keep an eye out for that. Him, myself, and I think Mark the Cyborg are going to talk about all that stuff, which will be a good conversation.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you and Lofty to spar against that movie. Because Lofty's been glazing it because he thinks it's high cinema, and I'm like, oh, okay.
He's not necessarily wrong. It's a great attempt at high cinema, and Scorsese is high cinema. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. He is, or let's not be. Well, seriously, you can't. I mean, Scorsese has holy fucking shit. Scorsese has a great career, and he has a lot of great movies. His last two, The Irishman and this one, I think he was a bit self-indulgent, and I think he went a little too hard in the paint on him. And I think the narrative delivered in Killers of the Flower Moon is one that people should know and understand. I think cinematically he missed the mark heavy, and that's unfortunate.
Well, no. Again, this is a thing that people need to realize is you can have these goggles on for these old directors and stuff like that. But and it's the same thing we've seen in Hollywood the last couple of years, is we hit to a place where it's all self-indulgent. Especially as actors and directors get older, they're going to become more so. You can appreciate the man for his career and not glaze him because of his legacy.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a couple reviews on that his new movie. Same with The Irishman. And I was like, oh God, I don't want to watch a 3.5 hour movie. Scorsese's was already long in the tooth in general. And now he just doesn't care, and studios give him carte blanche. I'm like, no. It's like watching a movie by a writer-director. You never do that. You need checks and balances.
Yeah. Well, you can argue that he's earned it, I think, for sure. I see Arcasol came in.
Yep, called you a sexy bastard.
Thanks, buddy. I am going to I'm going to end abruptly, only not because I don't want to continue talking about this, because I do, but my phone is nearly dead. Well, okay. I'm nearly home. My phone is just about dead. But thanks for jumping on, dude. I appreciate it. It's always good to bounce stuff off you. And this was very unplanned, but
yeah, I know. I just got a sudden link. I'm like, what is this?
I didn't even know if you would jump on, so it was nice that you did. Thank you. And everyone in chat, Ark, thanks for the 9 months, brother. Appreciate you. And the Beast. We had a bunch of people that came in and chatted today. Metastep, I think Nuclear was here earlier. Awesome One was here.
Oh God, DJ Ronnie. DJ Ronnie, yeah. Sherry jumped in. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks. Sorry, Ark. I would stay and talk for 4 hours if I could, but this was meant to be like literally a half an hour quick live stream, and it turned into an hour of a pretty good discussion. And now my phone is at 3%. So.
Yeah, see how he hates us? Hit like, by the way, on your way out.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm gonna check you guys out next time. Yeah, Bonzo, I'm just gonna bail completely because my phone's ready to end itself.
Bye.
See you guys.